Imagine this. You're in a quiet hotel lobby after a long, exhausting day. The soft hum of air conditioning is your only companion as you plug in your phone, desperate for a moment of peace. Then, out of nowhere, an old man plops down nearby and cranks his speakerphone to maximum volume, blasting his conversation for everyone to hear. Your blood boils. Your jaw clenches. You've had enough of people like him, the ones who think the world revolves around their noise. But what if you could turn the tables? What if one simple act of rebellion made him regret every decibel? Stick around, because this is the story of how I, Alex, delivered a dose of petty revenge that shut him up for good. It's the kind of satisfying justice that makes you pump your fist and say, yes! If you ever felt that burning frustration from someone else's disrespect, this one's for you. Let's dive in. Pause for effect. That moment in the lobby wasn't just annoying. It was a full-on assault on my sanity. I'd been traveling for work, a grueling sales conference that left me drained. My shoulders slumped under the weight of endless meetings and forced smiles. All I wanted was to charge my phone, scroll through some mindless feeds, and unwind before collapsing in my room. The lobby was perfect. Dim lights casting a warm glow on the polished marble floors, the faint scent of fresh coffee from the nearby bar, and a handful of other guests minding their own business. It was my sanctuary, until he arrived. The old man shuffled in, probably in his late 70s, with a wrinkled suit that looked like it'd seen better days, and a face etched with the kind of entitlement that comes from years of getting away with bad behavior. He didn't even glance around, just dropped onto the bench right next to mine, like the empty seats across the room didn't exist. I could smell his aftershave, sharp and overpowering, mixing with the lobby's calm aroma. Then, without a shred of consideration, he pulls out his phone, hits speaker, and dials. The volume? Maxed out. His voice booms like thunder. Yeah, Harold? You there? Speak up. I can't hear you. And Harold's tinny response echoes back, just as loud, discussing some mundane family drama about inheritance and grandkids. Everyone in the lobby winces. The staff behind the desk exchange glances, but no one says a word. Me? My heart starts pounding, that familiar heat rising in my chest. Why do people do this? I think. It's not rocket science. Use your ear, not the whole room. I try to ignore it at first. Plug my earbuds, crank up a podcast. But his voice cuts through like a chainsaw. No, I told her she ain't get a dime. Ha! Can you believe it? Laughter erupts from the speaker, grating on my nerves. My fingers tighten around my phone, knuckles white. I've dealt with this before, on planes and cafes, even at family gatherings. That powerless feeling where you're the nice guy who doesn't want to cause a scene, but inside, you're screaming for justice. It's disrespect at its core, a subtle betrayal of common courtesy that makes you feel small, undervalued. I glance at him, hoping he'll notice my discomfort. But he's oblivious, leaning back with a smug grin, like he's the king of the lobby. If you've ever been in my shoes, that moment where someone's rudeness pushes you to the edge, and all you crave is a sliver of validation, a way to reclaim your space, then hit that like button right now. It tells the algorithm you want more stories like this, where the underdog wins and justice feels oh so sweet. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications. We're all about those emotionally charged Reddit revenge tales that make you feel seen, heard, and triumphant. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll be cheering for Alex, that's me, and maybe even plotting your own petty comeback. Let's get back to the story, because things are about to escalate. Let me set the scene properly, because this wasn't just a random annoyance. It was the culmination of a day from hell. I'm Alex, a 32-year-old sales rep who's always on the road. Picture me. Average build, tousled brown hair from too many airport runs, eyes ringed with fatigue. I pride myself on being polite, the guy who holds doors and says, "Excuse me." But politeness has its limits, especially when it comes to public spaces. That hotel lobby in downtown Chicago was my temporary haven. The walls were lined with elegant wood panels. The air cool and inviting, a far cry from the chaotic conference I'd just escaped. I'd found a quiet corner bench, plugged in my charger, and let out a deep sigh. Finally, some peace, I thought. My phone was at 5%, mirroring my energy levels. I leaned back, feeling the soft leather cushion mold to my back, and closed my eyes for a second. That's when he entered. Let's call him Mr. Loudmouth, an elderly gentleman with silver hair thinning at the top, a paunch straining his button-up shirt, and glasses perched on a nose that seemed permanently turned up in disdain. He moved with the deliberate slowness of someone who knows the world waits for them. No hello, no nod. Just plop, right on the bench next to mine, even though there were empty spots everywhere. I shifted slightly, hoping he'd get the hint. He didn't. Instead, he fished out his ancient flip phone. Wait! No, it was a smartphone, but he treated it like a megaphone. Dial tone blares. Then the call connects. Harold. Yeah, it's me. Turn up your volume. I can barely hear you. His voice, gravelly and amplified, filled the room. Harold's response crackled back. What? Speak louder. It was like a bad comedy sketch, but no one was laughing. My pulse quickened. The words invaded my space. Details about some family feud, money troubles, opinions on politics that no one asked for. These kids today, they don't know respect, he bellowed, ironically. The irony burned. I could feel my cheeks flush, that hot wave of irritation spreading from my chest to my fingertips. Breathe, Alex, I told myself. Don't be that guy who starts a fight. I've always been the type to avoid confrontation. Growing up, my parents taught me to kill with kindness, but kindness felt like weakness here. The staff, a young woman at the desk with a name tag reading Sarah, shot me a sympathetic look, but she was busy with check-ins. Other guests fidgeted, one couple whispering complaints, but doing nothing. Powerlessness settled in like a fog. Why was I the one suffering? This man was treating the lobby like his personal office, his voice echoing off the high ceilings, disrupting the fragile peace we'd all silently agreed upon. I tried the polite route first. Clear my throat loudly. No response. Shuffle my feet. Nothing. Finally, I mustered the courage. Excuse me, sir. Could you please lower your volume or take it off speaker? It's a bit loud. My voice came out softer than intended, laced with that apologetic tone I hated myself. He glanced over, eyes narrowing behind his glasses. What? Mind your own business, kid. This is important. Then back to the call. Yeah, Harold, some punk here's complaining. Ha! Dismissed, like I was invisible. That stung. The underestimation, the casual disrespect. My stomach twisted, a knot of frustration and betrayal. Betrayal? Yeah, because public spaces are a social contract. We all agree to coexist quietly. He was breaking it, and I was paying the price. The call dragged on. 5 minutes. 10. His laughter boomed again, a harsh bark that made my temples throb. I could smell the coffee turning bitter in the air, hear the distant clink of glasses from the bar. But his voice drowned it all. Internal dialogue raced. Why doesn't anyone else say something? Am I overreacting? No, this is infuriating. Remember that time on the train when that woman did the same? You said nothing and regretted it. The memory fueled me. That lingering regret, the craving for justice. I stood up, grabbed my charger, and moved to a table far across the lobby. The new spot was by a window, overlooking the city lights. But even from there, his voice carried. No way. Tell her to stuff it. It was like he was shouting into a bullhorn. Staff looked my way again, one guy rolling his eyes, but still no intervention. Tension built in my chest, a pressure cooker of emotions. Annoyance turned into anger, powerlessness morphing into resolve. That's when I hit my breaking point. Forget it, I thought. I'm done with people like him blasting their lives into mine. I've always been a music lover. Heavy metal, specifically, the kind that drowns out the world. Killswitch Engage, with their pounding drums and screaming guitars, has got me through tough days. Why not use it now? Not to bother the staff. I respect them, but just enough to make a point. My hands trembled slightly as I scrolled to my playlist. Heart racing. I pressed play at half volume. The opening riff of my curse ripped through my phone speakers, not deafening but assertive. Thudding bass, raw vocals. I watched you walk away, helpless, threading our way through the labyrinth. It cut through the air like a blade. He noticed immediately. His head snapped toward me, eyes widening in surprise. The music clashed with his call, Harold's voice now muddled under the metal assault. I kept my gaze fixed on my phone, pretending to scroll, but inside, adrenaline surged. This is it. No backing down. Short breaths, palms sweaty. He tried to continue. What? Harold, hold on. Some idiot's playing music. But the guitars wailed louder, disrupting his rhythm. Staff glanced over, one smirking slightly. They got it. The lobby, once his echo chamber, was now a battlefield of sound. He turned fully toward me, face reddening like a tomato. Hey, turn that garbage off, he barked, but his words were half swallowed by the chorus. I didn't look up, just stared at my screen, volume steady. Inside, triumph bubbled, that sweet validation, the shift from victim to victor. He fumbled with his phone, trying to yell over the music. Harold? You there? Damn this noise. But the connection faltered, his speaker now competing with mine. Frustration etched his features, brows furrowed, mouth twisting in anger. He wasn't used to this, being challenged. The smug king dethroned. Finally, he jabbed the end call button, muttering under his breath. Silence from his end. I waited a beat, then hit pause on my music. The lobby fell quiet again, but the air hummed with unspoken victory. He glared at me, cheeks flushed with humiliation. You think you're clever, huh? He snarled, voice lower now, defeated. I met his eyes for the first time, calm as could be, just matching your energy, sir. If it's too loud, maybe turn it down. No malice, just fact. He huffed, shoved his phone in his pocket, and stormed off to another corner, mumbling about disrespectful youth. Relief washed over me like a cool wave. My shoulders relaxed, the knot in my stomach unraveling. That emotional release, from powerless to empowered, was intoxicating. Validation at last. And the best part? Minutes later, his phone rang again. He answered, not on speaker, but phone to ear, voice hushed. Hello? Yeah, quieter now. Like a normal person. The way it used to be. He got the message. Staff nodded at me approvingly as I gathered my things. Justice served, petty but profound. Looking back, that moment in the lobby taught me something powerful about karma and fairness. We all crave justice when we're disrespected, especially in those small, everyday ways that chip away at our dignity. I didn't stoop to his level entirely. I could have blasted full volume or started a shouting match, but I mirrored his inconsideration just enough to highlight it. It felt earned, a gentle nudge toward better behavior. And, hey, it worked. He learned without a big scene, and I walked away feeling validated, like I'd reclaimed my space in a world full of noise. What do you think? Was my revenge too petty, or just right? It taps into that universal desire for balance. When someone underestimates you, proving them wrong is the ultimate high. Stories like this remind us that sometimes standing up for yourself, even in small ways, restores the equilibrium. Karma isn't always dramatic. Often, it's a quiet riff that changes a tune. If the story gave you that satisfying chill down your spine, the kind where you root for the little guy and feel the justice in your bones, smash that like button and let me know in the comments. What's the most epic revenge you've ever pulled off or witnessed? Was it a loud talker like this, or something even pettier? Your stories fuel the community here. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe for more emotionally charged Reddit revenge tales, AIDA breakdowns, and karma comebacks that'll keep you hooked. Hit the bell so you never miss one. Thanks for watching. Remember, sometimes the best revenge is served with a side of heavy metal. See you in the next video.